It was a beautiful, sunny day in Florida in 1995 when a small, gray metallic trash can gained consciousness and started talking to the guests. He was beloved by the people, and his name was Push, the talking trash can. At first, he roamed around the land, gaining popularity with his extra personal interactions and exchanges, all while still striving to maintain cleanliness by continuing to serve as a functional yet sentient trash can. Soon, his message of togetherness through proper trash receptacle use gained quite a following, and it wasn't long until the people hoisted him up on their shoulders and started a grassroots campaign to make him mayor of Tomorrowland.
I'm voting for Push for mayor!
See, Push the Talking Trash Can uniquely crossed over the line that few fictional characters do, into a new type of recognizable public figure. And even with his apparent lack of hands, Push the Talking Trash Can even managed to sign autographs. What's going on, Disney fans? It's Dan here, and today we're talking about autograph collecting, specifically how the tradition got started at Disney parks. I personally don't collect autographs. I really don't love a celebrity or hero enough to actually physically chase after them with a piece of pen or paper in my hand looking to get their signature. And honestly, most of the people I know that are Disney World fans don't collect autographs either. Yet, for some reason, all of us happen to have 1, 2, 3, 4 books filled with Disney World signatures from all of our past vacations, and I find myself asking, why? So I started down a rabbit hole of discovering the history of why we collect autographs, and stumbled upon how Disney inadvertently tricked us into making it part of every one of our Disney experiences. Some of the first autographs collected in Disneyland all the way back in 1955 when the park first opened weren't of Mickey Mouse or really any of his anthropomorphic farm animal friends, nor were they any of princesses, villains, or heroes. Instead, there was only one person that people went to Disneyland to collect an autograph from, and that was Walt Disney himself.
As I turn this item over, is that it is signed by Walt Disney.
Yes.
The idea of an autograph has its roots actually in history, because as long as there were famous people of note, there were just as many people looking to capture some part of them and bring it home for themselves. Kings and queens, military heroes, generals, presidents, scholars, any sort of legendary human that made their mark on the world. Over the years, though, the concept of fame shifted wider and wider, and audiences adapted, having more immediate access to their new pop culture heroes. Collectors were more empowered, now suddenly chasing after people with glossy photos or posters, records, tapes, CDs, looking to get an autograph. Fast forward 30 years into the future of Disneyland, and the idea of autograph collecting in the parks has shifted dramatically. In 1988, Disney created Mickey's Birthday Land to honor the 60th birthday of Mickey Mouse himself. The land featured all sorts of attractions, from a petting zoo to live shows, but the land uniquely introduced an attraction that was the first of its kind. Kids could meet Mickey Mouse in his house in a highly immersive experience. And by the end of 1989, rolling into 1990, Mickey's Birthday Land had completely shifted gears into an entirely new experience called Mickey's Starland, where the red carpet was rolled out for you to meet all of your favorite Disney afternoon cartoon TV stars. And what do you do when you meet your favorite TV stars? You get their autograph. Nearly overnight, the idea of autograph collecting entirely changed in the parks. Going from a hobby that a lot of people were interested in, that you could find an autograph book tucked away in the corner of the stationery section in Main Street, into this highly merchandised machine. Every kiosk began featuring small shrink-wrapped books lined with cups of highly themed pens. Now suddenly, moving forward, every character was expected to sign at every meet and greet. These autograph books cost about $10. Some of them come with a pen. Some of the pens that you can get in addition to that are maybe another $5 to $10. It's a real simple way for you to, bring something home from the parks without investing a ton of cash.
Ooh, and play the sound.
As I started researching about autograph collecting, I already knew a couple of tips and tricks about how to get some of the more rare and unique autographs. So a few months ago, when this whole process started, I headed down to Disney World only to be hit by the biggest wall of autograph collecting humanly possible, and that is social distancing. So unless you've got like a pool noodle with a Sharpie taped to the end of it, which isn't going to get you the best autograph, I'm just going to throw that out there. There's just no way you can collect autographs right now in the park. You just can't. You can see characters. They're on boats. They're on porches. They're in cars. They're all over. They're up on balconies. They're high up. They're all around. But you can't physically get to a character. And with that in mind, Disney and the parks right now in 2020 have actually shut down the entire concept of autograph collecting. All of the autograph books that you could find in the parks completely removed from merchandise kiosks. You can still buy pens. Still lots and lots of pens to select from, and they've got plenty of journals and books that you could ideally stag and get autographs in. But because of social distancing, Disney is just like, well, no, you can't meet the characters, so you can't collect autographs. So some of the tips I'm about to tell you and some of these cooler, more unique autographs and some of the tricks I can teach you about how to get them if you love those characters aren't going to work until social distancing measures are over at the park. So don't try to pursue any of these until autograph and character meet and greets are kind of back in full swing.
Getting up close to a parade like float like that and then snapping a bunch of pictures of the actual float, it's great. There's so much great detail that are just always stuck on that no one ever pays attention to. The parade float is so loud. It's loud, almost as loud as the music.
So let's rewind all the way back to Push, the talking trash can. One of the most unique signatures you could have collected in the parks. All he did was request you take your autograph book, open it up to the page you wanted him to sign, lay it on the ground, and he would drive over it. Yeah, that's right. People were like, yeah, I would love grimy tourist boogers and spit in the form of a tire track from a sentient garbage can. I don't know why people wanted his autograph, but they did, and damn it, I wish I had it too. Push the Talking Trash Can truly was one of the most unique autograph experiences you could have gotten in the park, but he was just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the many things Disney's done with autographs over the years. Certain movies and events get released and Disney promotes them inside the parks, and that results in a limited time interaction with a certain character, perhaps from that property. But once that character's gone, and as long as that character never becomes popular again in a significant way that Disney should feature them in the parks, their autograph is gone forever. So in terms of one-off characters, truly one of the best examples I can ever personally think of is Sora from Kingdom Hearts. Sora made appearances in the parks for after-hour Halloween events, with Goofy and Donald there in their Kingdom Hearts outfits. And while he's a little terrifying, you know how I feel about skin suit characters. You know, they're just the dead eyes and, I can't really look at Sora too long. But what's really cool about Sora is he had a signature. Disney had to take the time to craft an autograph for a character that otherwise would have never signed anything. I don't necessarily imagine that to be an RPG move. Sign an autograph for the Heartless in order to destroy them, right? Sora's autograph wasn't necessarily a canon thing, but we made it canon because he appeared in the parks, and now he has an autograph. Which kind of rolls me into an interesting topic of discussion about a lot of autographs in the park that I call the impossible autograph. And now these are for costume characters that appear in parades, live shows, what have you, and any kind of tangible appearance that could have potentially be touched or interacted by with the guest. If that costume is created, a character signature must be created alongside of it. And the best examples of these are Sebastian from The Little Mermaid, Flounder from The Little Mermaid, Cogsworth, Mrs. Potts. These are walk-around characters that otherwise would be impossible for them to remotely hold a Sharpie because they don't have hands, but they do have autographs. And these autographs are occasionally used. Sometimes they're thrown on promotional material, on the back of shirts, or on little letters that are sent out. All in all, they're really unique and special autographs. Take a look at Mrs. Potts and the wonderful use of line art to make it look like the steam spout of her teapot, or Cogsworth with the unique cog-type designs from his clockwork innards. Sebastian with that treble clef. Really, really unique autographs, but are otherwise impossible. And you might be asking yourself, how on earth do I get the autographs of these characters? Because I love Mrs. Potts. Well, there's actually a trick to that. If you go into the parks and you have a particular character that you would have loved to have met, would have loved to have got the autograph from, and you know that they exist as a costume character out there in the park somewhere, you could go to guest services with autograph book in hand, pen, and say, I really would have loved the opportunity to meet Sebastian. He's my favorite crab. I'm a choral director myself. Disney doesn't want to deprive you of the guest experience. And so if you go there with the book and a pen and hand it on over, you have a pretty good chance of getting Sebastian's autograph. And this goes even further. Let's say your kid loses their autograph book or it gets damaged by water, which happened to me once with a park stroller in Epcot in Morocco. It flooded and my autograph book sitting in the bottom of the stroller got flooded, and suddenly all of our signatures were lost. I still have the book here, where all the pages got gooey and warped. And so what we did was head to guest services, and they took it, they looked at all the signatures, head on back and found all those characters once again and got all their autographs for us and refilled the book. It's a pretty great opportunity for characters that you really wish you had a little piece of but don't appear anymore. Eventually, Disney bit themselves in the butt by making the autograph collecting part of the meet and greet experience instead of just leaving it to the rare few who were really passionate about it. And what ended up happening was they started getting characters that just couldn't sign, specifically Pixar, because Pixar was designing movies about toys. What you ended up having was, for certain characters that were brought into real life, were these entirely unrealistic gloves to wear for any character to hold a pen to sign. Look at Buzz Lightyear. He's essentially wearing 10 Sharpie caps as a glove. There's no way he's gonna then hold a Sharpie to sign with. And as a response to that, we got the invention of the stamped autograph. These characters would literally carry around a huge, Staples custom printed rubberized stamp attached to their belt like some kind of autographed Batman. They would just walk out and bam, and hit your autograph book with it, and off you went. This technique was actually used for a bunch of other characters, including even Figment himself, believe it or not, who, when he appeared as his own standalone costume, would do a lot of stamping. Another way that the autograph collecting sort of bit Disney in the butt was with their after-hours party events, such as Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Here you had highly themed, exclusive character meet and greets that people really wanted to go and get their pictures with. But collecting an autograph, all the way back in 1990, changed the way the character meet and greets went. It used to be a 30 to 45 second interaction that suddenly turned into a 90 to 120 second interaction. And so autographs have been almost completely removed from the meet and greet experience in these after hour parties. And as a result, we ended up with autograph postcards. Just cards with signatures on them that you got that were hopefully sized well enough for you to stick into maybe a plastic sleeve in some of the books, or maybe glue into the pages of your autograph book. It's like the magic was completely removed from the interaction. There's nothing like you meeting Jack Skellington and on your way out, he's got like a college intern handing out postcards with his autograph. The last autograph that I want to talk to you guys about is one of my particular favorite kinds of autographs, and that's the trick autograph. Think all the way back to the late 80s, early 90s, when Dreamfinder himself was appearing at Epcot for character meet and greets, and he had a friend with him, Figment. And that resulted in Dreamfinder only having one free hand to do anything with, because the other hand had to hold up Figment, of course, right? So how did Dreamfinder manage to sign autographs? Well, gets tricky, because back then, characters, when they were out and about in the parks, didn't have a cast member attendant following them around with a pocket full of Sharpies and wet wipes and, a compass and a whistle or whatever they've got in their pockets in order to keep these characters safe. Dreamfinder was out there on his own, just wandering through the land, doing his best to entertain guests. And if someone wanted an autograph from him, well, Dreamfinder needed help, or he needed to get creative. So he would do all sorts of things, like make the parents hold open the books, or the kids hold open the books. Sometimes he would tell a kid to spin around, and he would open the book and slap it on his back and do his best to sign
There we go. Emily, hold your book right up here on the desk.
A completely tricky situation in order to get a signature from Dreamfinder, but it brings up an interesting point about you collecting the best signature you possibly can, and that is come prepared. If you show up with a napkin from the Kona Cafe and a golf pencil from when you played mini golf last week when you were at Universal Studios and that, whatever the theming is of that golf course that you go over City Walk, you're not going to get the best autograph. You need to show up prepared. Come with your book open, Sharpie in hand, pen in hand, preferably uncapped, at the page, ready to go, ready to just smoothly hand over to the character for them to grab it and sign it. The more complicated you make the process of collecting an autograph means the less time they have to autograph. So I guess that's how we ended up collecting autographs at the park. It became this affordable practice that a lot of us kind of appeared at the parks and just decided to go along with. You would stand in line as a kid and see other kids collecting autographs, and you would turn to your mom and dad and be like, hey, can we get an autograph book? And usually you end up with one. You guys tell me what some of your favorite autographs that you've collected in the parks are. What are some of your favorite autograph collecting memories? I'd love to see some of the autograph books you guys have, some of the rare autographs you have. Send them my way at Disney Dan on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Patreon. I want to hear your stories. I want to see your autographs. Show me all those cool pictures. And if you want more of me talking about autographs, there's still plenty to talk about. Lots of really fun and interesting autographs to dive into and explore. So let me know in the comments below or on social media all your questions and thoughts about autographs. Appreciate you guys watching. And as always, you rock. Mickey's signature turned into Walt's signature. And Walt Disney's autograph is a thing all on its own because very few of the autographs out there that are authenticated as Walt Disney were actually signed by Walt Disney.